Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In the previous tutorial, we introduced how a relation can be represented, and we reviewed the four representations of relation using tables, mapping, and graphs. And by the end of the tutorial, we said that the function is one kind of a relation with a certain condition, which is each value of the domain, the x values, can be corresponded only to exactly one value of the range, which are the y values, which means the x values in a function cannot be repeated. And here are the four representations of a function. A function can be represented by a table exactly like a relation, because a function is basically a relation, but noticing that the x value cannot be repeated. The values of x, we cannot find the same value of x repeated. The same value of x cannot be corresponded to different values of y. Each value of x pairs exactly with one value of y. Same here in the mapping, and as we said earlier, we look to the arrowheads. The arrowheads, each value or each element in the domain, each x value should only have one arrowhead coming out of it. If you find one element with two arrowheads coming out from the same element, you say this is not a function. And by graph, and we said a function, to determine whether the graph represents a function or not, you may use a vertical line test. Anywhere it should cross the graph in one point, so you say it's a function. But in functions, we have a fourth representation, which is the equation. And today we're going to introduce the function notation, which is f of x. It can be f of x, p of x, h of x, any name. And the variable between the brackets changes according to the variable in the equation itself. And we're going to see how to evaluate or find a value for this a function. Finding a value for a function, if we said we have a function like y equals x minus 2, this y can be replaced by the function notation, which is commonly used as f of x. F of x is a function of x. This is just a notation, just a name, can be replacing to the y. It can replace the y value. It's not only f of x, as I said earlier, it can be p of x, h of x, t of x, whatever. And according to the variable between the brackets, it is changes. So if I have, for example, another function in term of t, for example, 2t minus 5. So in case of writing it using the function notation, it would be f of t this time, because the independent variable is t, not x. So again, since x represents the domain, which is the independent variable, and y is the dependent variable, which are the outputs. X are all the inputs, and y are all the outputs. Another notation is represented to express the output, which is the function notation. So y equals x minus 2 can be written as, using the function notation, f of x equals x minus 2. And in order to find the value of a function, f of 4, if he's asking me to find f of 4, it means to evaluate this function by replacing x equals 4. So I would replace x by 4, and it would be 4 minus 2, so f of 4 would be 2. Let's see the next example to make sure you fully understand the concept now. Given a function represented as, using this equation, f of x equals 3x minus 4, it is required to find f of 4. F of 4 means I would replace each x by 4. So f of 4 is 3 times 4 minus 4, using order of operations, which we reviewed in the previous tutorials. We have to start by the multiplication. 3 times 4 is 12, minus 4, it is 8. So f of 4 is 8. This is how we can find a value of a function or evaluating the function. Let's see the next example here. F of x is equal 3x minus 4. This is the given equation or the given function notation. It is required to find f of negative 5 plus 6. So f of negative 5 plus 6, it means I'm going to replace x by negative 5. So it is 3 times negative 5 minus 4 plus 6. So I replaced negative 5, f of negative 5, I replaced x by negative 5, and here is it, and then to add 6 to whatever comes out. Again, order of operation, you have to start by multiplication. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15 minus 4, I still have the plus 6. Negative 15 minus 4 is negative 19 plus 6. In case of different signs, we subtract. Negative 19 plus 6, you subtract. It is actually 19 minus 6, which is 13, and you keep the sign of the bigger value, of the bigger number. So the answer is negative 13. It's your turn now. Pause the video. Try to find f of 3 for the given function notation. To find f of 3, of course, you have to replace or substitute x for 3. 2x plus 5, it is now 2 times 3 plus 5. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 5, it is 11. Again, find f of negative 8. Give yourself 30 seconds and then come back to check your answer. F of negative 8, it means I'm replacing each x by negative 8. So 2 times negative 8 is negative 16 plus 5. Again, in case of different signs, we subtract. So 16 minus 5 is 11, and we keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's negative 11. Thank you so much for listening to the tutorial. Until we meet again, please keep safe. Assalamu alaikum.